Good evening, everybody. So today I wanted to talk to you, or this evening I want to talk to you about fight or flight. Now, they always say the narcissist is in fight or flight, but also how they cannot feel love. I think in the trauma state that occurs, so what happens is when they go down the road of this evil route. So in your brain, it's the easiest organ system. So you can recalibrate your brain. You can form new pathways. Like, for instance, if you asked your parents for something when you were a kid and they'd said, no, you can't have it. Well, you can take it. That's the next best thing. But you have to push your morals away and your ethics away to do that. When they get to a point of the possession, I think what happens is when the entity takes over, it actually it puts them in a fight or flight state permanently. And this is how they that's how they're able to function without the love process. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all. And then it's still able to operate, but it's not going to operate with the intuition of God, or this is how it kind of kicks their soul out, in a sense. You know what I mean? Their inner person. They puts them in a constant state of fight or flight, and then from there it can permanently run off fight or flight. And in fight or flight, you're not thinking about love. So then it gets you to continually think in a state that, like what they say, is trauma. But is it really trauma first? Or is it that they went down this, there's many different ways, but they could have went down this road of evil, and then they get possessed. My point is how are they like hijacked, right? So they get down this road of being possessed. When they get possessed, it pushes them over into a traumatic state all the time. And my point is what I always say is that the narcissist, the parasite and the narcissist, they attach to you because they're spreading their web, you see? And when they're spreading their web, it's like they want to increase. They're insatiable. And so they can't do anything. They can't take over any more of the narcissist. So now they're taking over others, branching out and trying to plant that seed into others. And this is what parasites do. And so my point is that what they do is they do exactly to you from the outside what happened to the narcissist. Everything that the narcissist does to you is what that parasite did to them. So what they do to you is they are breaking you down. So if you notice, when you're on this level, when you meet the narcissist, they really don't have an effect on you. In fact, we call it the love bombing phase. Even though they're destructive, we're not noticing it yet, right? But they continually bring you down by sucking your fuel and lying to you and cheating and manipulating, right? And so that's taking your force field down. They're pushing a button. They're deactivating your force field so that they can get deeper and more intrinsically affect you. And so when they get you down to their level, then they put you in a trauma state. Okay, and when you're in a trauma state, and then they're throwing their energy on you, right, through reactive abuse and projection and triangulation. And when they do that, what's happening is now you're getting into fight or flight, and then you're wondering, why are you the narcissist? Or a lot of people have asked that. Am I the narcissist? I think we've all asked that question during a relationship with a destructive individual that's a narcissist. And that's because they put you in a traumatic state and you feel like them. But when you continue down that state, you're getting more and more like them, and you're getting more and more codependent to the narcissist. Because now you're an extension of them, right? They always say you're an extension of the narcissist. You're just an object of them. You're an arm of them, a tool of them, and they're a tool of the enemy. So then that makes you connected to, in a sense, you're starting to get connected and cohesive with the enemy, because they're getting you in such, they're destroying everything good in your life. Well, what's left after? Nothing but evil. All the bad stuff is left. But they're doing it, they're manipulating. And so that's the thing. They manipulated the narcissists and got them to the point that they are. And if you continue to stay with the narcissist, you will get beat down to a level very similar. Because you are not a narcissist, you would have probably been a narcissist by now. I don't know how much you can become a narcissist older in age, but you can get very cruddy. And, you know, you can be a real disheartened individual that God can't use for anything. And so if they can't possess you, then they want to heavily oppress you and control you, defeat you and destroy you, so that you're completely knocked out of whatever God's purpose is in your life. The thing is it makes me wonder, so we're in this prison planet here, right? For a time, and we're being ruled over by the enemy system. And it's interesting how, you know how they say that you can go to, well, they would talk about things you can do to terraform. Well, what the enemy is doing is terraforming this world system by pulling the vibration or the level down of anybody that has love and light in their life. And if he can pull it down more and more and more, continually with fear, the news, and all this evil stuff that's going on. So over time, if he can put all the lights that are shining out, then it will be terraformed for more and more evil to come in and rule. And it will make it more the norm. And that's what you're seeing today. And that's why when you see self-aware narcissists on these channels that can't speak on anything spiritual that happened in their life that changed them, what they're doing is they're normalizing narcissism. So now you can walk around and say, oh, I'm a self-aware narcissist. You know, see what I'm saying? This is how the enemy always, and when you wake up to narcissism, you start to find that somebody had said, you know, a lot of these songs that they hear, you know, these love songs and stuff, they're related to the trauma bond, and they are. The more I thought about it in the last couple of days, he or she on this channel is right. You see, they're always brainwashing you into terraforming this world system. It's packaged real pretty, like the narcissist was when you met them, him or her. But underneath that package is what somebody else said on the channel. They're painted in gold, but inside they're a dumpster. I mean, really. And the same thing with these horror flicks and these thrillers that I was talking about. We were talking about earlier on a couple of podcasts back, that they're terraforming you by you starting to go see horror flicks and trauma films or thriller films and get you pumping in your adrenaline. And if they can get you running like this, thinking like this, listening to these songs and watching the news, then it's furthering the enemy's kingdom. And so you want to watch, of course, you want to watch what you see on TV and what you listen to. But they kind of, what you'll find is that the fight or flight system of the human body is for survival. And this is what it casts them into. Fight or flight would be the system of the brain that would tell you to steal something because you're trying to survive. It's telling you you don't have time to love in fight or flight because you're in survival mode. And this is a little bit more proof that they're dealing with something else. When you get somebody in a trauma state that can't ever come out of it, so like God always gives the enemy like options to lie to us and things like that. And if he didn't have opportunity, then it wouldn't be a threat. So he has opportunity, and I always say sometimes too many options is not a good thing. And that's what the enemy can do. He can't make you do anything, but he gives you options. But once, you know, an individual gets taken over, they're in a constant state of fight or flight. And that shuts off that other side, the normal brain activity of humanity. And they always say when you're dating a narcissist or you're with a narcissist for a period of time, it puts you in a state of fight or flight. So it's prepping and preparing you for the next step, for the next level, which is never good when you're dealing with a narcissist. It's evil any which way you look at it. And for a psychiatrist and psychologist to not ever speak on the spiritual side of things, you're really knocking out 50% of what's going on. I mean, and for people out there that don't believe in the spirit realm, I'm sorry, but we are spirit beings in an avatar living a human experience. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, but that's the simple fact of the matter. And, you know, they put them in a fantasy to where there's always a duality going on. The duality is what the narcissist is being told by, that's where they kick their inner self out, in my opinion. That's why there's nothing there. And their intuition becomes this demonic voice instead of your inner self. And it always tells them what to do. And it's an evil construct. And it's like their fantasy is like, you know, you take a somatic narcissist, it's like they're on a Monopoly board. That's their fantasy. Anything by any means necessary to have things, items, and objects that shine, you know. And then you have, you know, the regular old narcissists, they're playing checkers with you. But then you have the cerebral narcissist, and you got to watch out for them because they're playing chess with you. So if you want to, you know, get to heaven and be doing the right and be, you know, an individual that is a servant of God, you got to get your chess game up to get the other side of the board. And so that's what I have for you tonight. Hope this helps somebody out there. And until next time, Soul Jeff, peace be out.